Luna Hernandez's hands shook as she carried 3 plates on her left arm. Friday night was the busiest time at Russo's restaurant, and the small Italian restaurant was filled with people rushing around everywhere. She had worked 2 shifts in a row for the past week, and the money from tips barely paid for her tiny apartment in Brooklyn. Her feet hurt so much that she didn't even notice the pain anymore. Then she heard it. A child screamed, loud, scared, and desperate. The sound cut through all the talking in the restaurant like a sharp knife. Everyone turned to look at the private booth in the corner where Dominic Russo sat with a small boy who looked about 4 years old. The child's face was red, and tears ran down his cheeks as he twisted and turned in the booth. Luna watched the powerful restaurant owner, a man who made grown-ups nervous, freeze completely. His hands moved near his son without knowing what to do, and his jaw was tight with something that looked like fear. "Someone should help," a customer said quietly. But no one moved. No one was brave enough to go near Dominic Russo without being invited. Luna put down her plates and walked toward the booth with her heart beating fast. She didn't know why she did it. Maybe it was because she saw how helpless the powerful man looked in his dark eyes. Maybe it was because the little boy's screams reminded her of her own scary times when she was young. She knelt down beside the booth, not looking at the dangerous man at all, and whispered to the crying child, "Hey, sweetheart. You're just scared, aren't you? It's okay to be scared." The screaming stopped. 3 hours earlier, Luna walked through the kitchen doors of Russo's restaurant, tying her apron like she always did. She had been working at the fancy Brooklyn Italian restaurant for 3 months, and she still felt like she didn't belong with the marble floors and fancy chandeliers. Back home in Mexico City, her mother ran a small taco restaurant. This world of expensive wine and quiet conversations felt like a completely different planet. "Table 6 needs their check," Marco, the head waiter, called out. "And Luna, Mr. Russo's coming in tonight with his son. Private booth. Don't mess it up." Luna's stomach felt tight. She had seen Dominic Russo exactly twice since she started working here. Both times from far away. The owner didn't visit his own restaurant very much, but when he did, all the workers moved differently, carefully and respectfully, with a kind of fear that Luna didn't fully understand but could feel. "Got it," she said quietly, smoothing her black apron over her simple white shirt. The evening work passed quickly with many orders and polite smiles. Luna's feet hurt in her old sneakers. The nice shoes she had brought from Mexico had broken last month, and new ones weren't something she could afford. Not when she sent half her paycheck home to her younger brothers and sisters who were still in school. At 8 o'clock, the feeling in the restaurant changed. Dominic Russo walked through the front door, and Luna understood right away why people feared him. He was at least 6 feet 3 inches tall, and his broad shoulders filled out a perfectly fitted black suit. His dark hair was combed back from a face that could have been carved from stone, sharp jaw with designer stubble, a Roman nose, and eyes so dark they were almost black. Everything about him showed power and control. But it was the little boy holding his hand that made Luna's heart squeeze. The child was small for what looked like 4 years old, with the same dark hair as his father, but with softer features and large, scared eyes. He pressed against Dominic's leg, and his other hand twisted in his own shirt, a way of calming himself that Luna recognized from taking care of her youngest brother after their father died. "This way, Mr. Russo," Marco said smoothly, walking them to the private booth in the corner. Luna tried not to stare as she brought bread to a nearby table. The little boy, Paolo, she heard Dominic say quietly, wouldn't sit down. He stood on the booth seat, making small crying sounds, reaching for his father. "Paolo, sit," Dominic said, his voice low but stressed. "We talked about this. You wanted to come to Papa's restaurant." The child's small cry turned into loud crying. Luna watched Dominic's jaw get tight and watched the powerful man's hands move without knowing what to do. She had seen that look before on her mother's face after their father died, when her baby brother screamed for someone who would never come back. Sadness, tiredness, and the scary understanding that love alone wasn't enough to fix what was broken. An hour passed. Paolo's upset grew from small cries to full crying, then to the screaming that made the entire restaurant stop. That's when Luna put down her plates and walked over. She knelt beside the booth at the child's eye level, purposely not looking at Dominic Russo. Every feeling told her this was dangerous. You didn't go near this man without being invited. Didn't get involved with his family. But the child's pain pulled at something deep in her chest. "Hey, sweetheart," Luna whispered in the gentlest voice she had. "You're just scared, aren't you? It's okay to be scared." Paolo's screaming got quieter. His tear-covered face turned toward her. "Sometimes," Luna continued softly, "when we're scared, it helps to have something to hold, something soft and safe." She pulled a clean napkin from her apron and folded it into a simple shape. Not quite fancy folding, just a small triangle. "My little brother used to hold his special blanket. What do you like to hold?" Paolo stared at her, still breathing hard, but the screaming stopped. "Bunny," he whispered. "A bunny? That sounds perfect. Is your bunny at home?" The smallest nod. "Well, maybe this napkin can be like a pretend bunny just for tonight, just until we get you home to your real one." Luna held out the folded cloth. Paolo's small hand reached out slowly. He took the napkin and held it to his chest. "There you go," Luna said quietly. "You're so brave. And you know what? Your papa's right here. He's not going anywhere." For the first time since kneeling down, Luna looked up at Dominic Russo. The look on his face made her breath stop. It wasn't anger or annoyance at her getting involved. It was real, clear vulnerability, thankfulness mixed with something that looked like pain. His dark eyes held hers for a moment that felt too long, and Luna felt her cheeks get hot. "Thank you," Dominic said quietly. His voice was deeper than she expected, with a slight rough sound that sent shivers down her spine. "It's nothing," Luna said, standing up quickly. "He just needed." She paused. "To be understood," Dominic finished. His eyes hadn't left her face. "No one else has been able to do that. Not the babysitters, not the therapist, not even me." Paolo had climbed into his father's lap now, still holding the pretend napkin bunny, his head against Dominic's chest. "What's your name?" Dominic asked. "Luna. Luna Hernandez. I'm a waitress here." "I know who you work for," Dominic said with a tiny smile. "But I didn't know I had someone with your gift on my staff. How long have you been here?" 3 months, sir." "Don't call me sir. It's Dominic." He moved Paolo gently in his arms. "My son hasn't slept through the night in over a year. He has nightmares and panic attacks. 3 different babysitters have quit because they couldn't handle his episodes." His jaw got tight. "His mother died 18 months ago, and I don't know how to help him." The honest truth in his words hit Luna in the chest. This dangerous, powerful man was admitting failure in front of a stranger. Admitting that even though he had lots of money and control, he couldn't fix the one thing that mattered. "I'm sorry," Luna whispered. "About his mother." "Isabella," Dominic said quietly. "Her name was Isabella." He looked down at Paolo, who was finally calm, his eyes closing with tiredness. "She was everything good in my world. When she died, she took all the light with her. And Paolo..." His voice cracked a little. "Paolo lost his whole world. I don't know how to give it back to him." Luna's heart hurt. She thought of her own father's death and the way her family had broken apart and slowly healed. "You can't give it back," she said gently. "But you can build something new, something different but still good." Dominic's eyes lifted to hers again, and the strong look there made her heartbeat speed up. "Have dinner with us," he said suddenly. "Please, just sit. Talk to him. I'll pay you whatever your shift would have earned." "I'm working." "Marco," Dominic called out, and the head waiter appeared right away. "Luna's shift is over. She's eating dinner with me tonight. Pay her for the full evening plus extra." Marco's eyes got wider, but he nodded. "Of course, Mr. Russo." Before Luna could argue, Dominic pointed to the booth seat across from him. "Please." Luna slid into the booth, her heart racing. She was sitting with Dominic Russo, having dinner with the man who owned half of Brooklyn if rumors were true. The man whose name made even police officers look away. But when she looked at him now, all she saw was a father desperately trying to save his son. Paolo peeked at her from his father's arms. "You stay?" he asked in his small voice. "I'll stay," Luna promised. Something changed in Dominic's expression. Thankfulness, Yes, but something else too. Something warmer and more dangerous. Tell me about yourself, Luna Hernandez, Dominic said, his voice low and personal across the small table. Tell me how a waitress from Mexico learned to calm a child no one else can reach. Luna's breath caught. This was supposed to be about Paolo, about helping a child in pain. So why did it feel like something else completely was beginning? The Russo house in Brooklyn Heights took Luna's breath away. 3 days had passed since that dinner at the restaurant. 3 days of Dominic Russo calling her personally, his deep voice on the phone making her stomach flip as he explained what he wanted. Be Paolo's babysitter, live in his home, help his son heal. The money he offered was more than she made in 3 months at the restaurant. I can't accept this, Luna had said, staring at the number on the contract he had sent. You can, Dominic had replied, his tone showing he wouldn't argue. And you will, because Paolo needs you. And I. Pause. I need you to help him. Now Luna stood in front of the huge brownstone house with her single beat-up suitcase in her hand, trying not to feel like she had stepped into a different universe. The building was 4 stories of perfect brick and iron balconies, with stone steps leading to a black door that probably cost more than her entire apartment building. The door opened before she could knock. A woman in her 60s with silver hair pulled into a neat bun smiled warmly. You must be Luna. I'm Rosa, the housekeeper. Mr. Russo is in his office, but Paolo's been asking for you every 10 minutes since breakfast. Luna smiled despite her nervousness. He remembers me? Oh honey, that boy hasn't stopped talking about the angel lady who gave him the bunny. Come in, come in. The inside of the Russo home was fancy but surprisingly warm. Dark wooden floors, cream walls with expensive art, but also photos everywhere. Paolo as a baby, a beautiful dark-haired woman holding him, casual pictures of family gatherings. Isabella, Luna thought. The late Mrs. Russo's presence still filled this house. Mr. Russo hasn't been able to take them down, Rosa said quietly, noticing Luna's look. Says it's important Paolo remembers his mother. That's good, Luna said quietly. Children need to remember. Luna, a small voice yelled, and Paolo came running down the big staircase, his face bright with joy Luna hadn't seen at the restaurant. She knelt down, and the 4-year-old threw himself into her arms. You came. Papa said you were coming to live here. I did. Luna laughed, hugging the little boy. He smelled like baby shampoo and maple syrup. I heard you've been waiting for me. I made you a picture. Paolo grabbed her hand, pulling her toward the stairs. Come see. It's in my room. Paolo, a deep voice said from the doorway to the right, and Luna's breath caught. Dominic Russo came out of what must be his office, and if Luna thought he had been scary in a suit at the restaurant, he was amazing in casual clothes, dark jeans that fit perfectly, a black shirt that showed his powerful build, sleeves pushed up to show strong arms. His dark hair was a little messy, as if he had been running his hands through it, and the designer stubble on his jaw made him look dangerous and attractive. Let Luna settle in first, Dominic said to his son. But his eyes were on Luna, looking over her simple jeans and sweater with a strong look that made heat pool in her stomach. But Papa. Just one word, spoken quietly, and the child stopped. Luna watched with interest. Dominic wasn't mean or harsh, but his son obeyed right away. There was respect there, but also fear, not of being hurt, but of disappointing his father. How about this? Luna suggested gently. I'll put my bag in my room, and then you can show me your picture. Deal? Paolo's face got bright. Deal. Rosa will show you to your room, Dominic said. It's on the 3rd floor next to Paolo's. I want you close in case he wakes up during the night. Of course. And Luna. Dominic stepped closer, and Luna had to tilt her head back to look at his eyes. He was so tall, so broad, and the heat coming from his body made her dizzy. Thank you for coming. For giving this a chance. I haven't done anything yet, Luna said softly. You calmed my son with a folded napkin when 3 professionals couldn't, Dominic replied, his voice getting lower. You've already done more than you know. Their eyes stayed locked for a moment too long. Luna's heartbeat hammered in her throat. This was her boss, her employer. Nothing more. So why did it feel like so much more? Luna's room was beautiful, more space than her entire apartment had been, with a queen bed, private bathroom, and a window looking over the garden. She unpacked quickly, hanging her few clothes in the huge closet that made her wardrobe look even worse. Paolo appeared in her doorway the moment she finished. "Ready?" "Show me this picture," Luna said, smiling. Paolo's room was a child's dream, toy boxes overflowing, a bed shaped like a race car, colorful drawings covering one wall. But Luna noticed the night light plugged into every outlet, the baby monitor on the dresser, and the way Paolo's bed was piled with stuffed animals like a wall. "This is you," Paolo said proudly, showing her a crayon drawing of a stick figure with long black hair and a big smile. "And this is me, and this is Papa. We're all together." Luna's throat got tight. In the drawing, all three people were holding hands. "It's perfect, Paolo. Can I keep it?" His eyes got huge. "Really? Really? I'll hang it in my room." Paolo beamed, then grabbed her hand. "Want to see the garden? It's really big. Mama used to take me there every day, but now Papa's too busy." The casual mention of his mother's death, spoken with such simple sadness, broke Luna's heart. They spent the afternoon exploring. The garden was really huge, bushes and flower beds and a stone fountain where Paolo said his mother used to sit. He talked about her all the time without tears now, just simple memories. "Mama used to sing to me," Paolo said as they sat by the fountain. "Italian songs, but I can't remember them all anymore." "What if I teach you Spanish songs?" Luna suggested. "From where I grew up in Mexico." Paolo's face lit up. "Like what?" Luna sang softly, a lullaby her own mother had sung. Paolo listened closely, then tried to repeat the words. His pronunciation adorable and completely wrong. "You'll get it," Luna laughed. "We'll practice." "Why did you leave Mexico?" Paolo asked suddenly with the blunt curiosity of children. Luna hesitated. "My papa died when I was younger, like you lost your mama. My family needed money, so I came here to work and send money home to them." "You miss them every day." Paolo leaned against her shoulder. "I miss Mama every day too." Luna wrapped an arm around the small boy, blinking back tears. "I know, sweetie. I know." From the second-floor window, Dominic watched them in the garden. His son, his closed-off, anxious, terrified son, was laughing, leaning against this woman he barely knew as if she were safety itself. And Dominic felt something crack in his chest, something that had been frozen since Isabella died. He had arranged this for Paolo, hired Luna to help his son heal. But watching her now, the afternoon sun catching her dark hair, her gentle smile as she held his child, Dominic realized he was in trouble. Because he wanted her, not just for Paolo. For himself. That night, Luna woke to screaming. She sat up fast in the unfamiliar bed, heart racing, before realizing it was Paolo. She ran into the hallway just as Dominic burst from his own room, wearing only pajama pants sitting low on his hips, his muscular chest bare. Luna tried not to stare as they both rushed into Paolo's room. The little boy was thrashing in his bed, crying in his sleep. "Mama! Mama, don't go." "He has nightmares," Dominic said roughly, moving toward the bed. "Nothing wakes him. He has to cry it out." "May I?" Luna asked. Dominic hesitated, then stepped back. Luna sat on the edge of Paolo's bed and did what her mother used to do. She sang softly in Spanish, the same lullaby from the garden. She stroked Paolo's sweaty hair, her voice steady and soothing. The thrashing slowed. The crying got quieter. Paolo's eyes opened, unfocused and scared. "Mama?" "It's Luna, sweetheart. You're safe. You're home. Papa's right here." Paolo's eyes found his father standing in the doorway. "Papa?" "I'm here, my son," Dominic said quietly, his voice rough with emotion. "Always." "Luna too?" Paolo asked, his small hand reaching for hers. "I'm here too," Luna promised. Paolo's eyes closed again, this time peaceful. Luna carefully stood, but Paolo's hand tightened on hers. "Stay," he mumbled, already half asleep again. "Don't go." Luna looked at Dominic helplessly. "Stay," Dominic said quietly. "I'll bring you a chair." He came back moments later with a soft armchair, setting it beside Paolo's bed. Luna sank into it, her hands still in Paolo's small grip. Dominic stood there for a long moment, looking at his sleeping son, then at Luna. The moonlight from the window cut across his face, showing the sharp lines and shadows. His eyes were dark and strong and fixed on her. "No one's ever been able to calm him from a nightmare," Dominic said finally. "Not even me." "You love him," Luna said softly. "That's what matters. Love isn't enough." Dominic's jaw got tight. "I'd give him everything I have, and it still wouldn't bring his mother back." "No," Luna agreed. "But your love can build something new. Something just as good, just different." Dominic's look held hers in the darkness. "You believe that? I have to. Or what's the point of surviving loss at all?" Something changed in Dominic's expression, admiration, attraction, something deeper Luna couldn't name. "You should get some sleep," Luna said, trying to break the strong feeling of the moment. "I'll stay with him tonight." "Luna. He needs this. One night of feeling safe. Please." Dominic studied her face for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Thank you." He hesitated in the doorway. "For everything." After he left, Luna sat in the chair, holding Paolo's hand, her heart racing. She thought this job would be simple. Help a child, earn money, go home. But nothing about Dominic Russo was simple, and Luna was starting to realize she was in much deeper than she'd planned. 3 weeks passed quickly with routine and unexpected happiness. Luna woke each morning to Paolo bouncing on her bed, his nightmares becoming less frequent. They had established habits: breakfast together where Paolo helped her make pancakes, even though most of the batter ended up on his face. Then morning lessons in the garden where Luna taught him Spanish while he taught her Italian words his mother had taught him. Dominic left early most mornings for business. Luna didn't ask what kind, though she had heard enough phone conversations to know it wasn't completely legal. But every evening at 6 o'clock, no matter what, he came home to have dinner with his son, and with Luna. Those dinners were becoming the best part of her days in ways that scared her. "Tell Papa what you learned today," Luna would say to Paolo. And the little boy would talk excitedly about songs and words and the caterpillar they had found in the roses. But Luna felt Dominic's eyes on her all the time, watching the way she cut Paolo's food, the way she laughed at his jokes, the way she had unconsciously started ruffling the boy's hair the same way his mother did in the photographs. Sometimes their eyes would meet across the table, and the heat in Dominic's dark look made Luna's breath catch. "This is dangerous," she reminded herself constantly. "He's your boss. You work for him. Nothing more." But it felt like more. It was Friday evening when everything changed. Paolo had finally fallen asleep after 2 bedtime stories, and Luna found Dominic in his office, papers spread across the huge desk, his expression tense. "Is everything okay?" Luna asked from the doorway. Dominic's eyes lifted, and the stress in his face softened a little. "Business complications. Nothing you need to worry about. Paolo wants to know if you'll take him to the park tomorrow. He's been asking all week." A shadow crossed Dominic's face. "I can't. I have meetings." Luna's disappointment surprised her. "He misses spending time with you. He has you now." "I'm not his father, Dominic. I can't replace you." Luna stepped into the office. "He needs you more than he needs anything else." "What he needs," Dominic said roughly, standing from his desk, "is stability and safety, things my world doesn't always provide." He moved around the desk, and suddenly he was close. Too close. "You've given him more peace in 3 weeks than I've managed in 18 months. You think I don't see what's happening? My son is healing because of you. He smiles because of you. He sleeps because of you. He loves you," Luna said softly. "That's why he's healing. Because you brought me here. Because you're trying." "I'm trying," Dominic agreed, his voice getting lower. "I'm trying very hard to remember you work for me. That I hired you to help my son. I'm trying to remember all the reasons I can't." He stopped suddenly, jaw tightening. "Can't what?" Luna whispered, her heart hammering. Dominic's hand lifted almost without thinking, and his fingers brushed her cheek. The touch was light but sent electricity through her entire body. Can't want you the way I do. Luna's breath stopped. Dominic. I watch you with my son, he continued, his voice rough with emotion. And I see everything I lost when Isabella died. I see light. Laughter. You've brought life back into this house, Luna. Into Paolo. His thumb traced her jawline. Into me. This is a bad idea, Luna breathed even as she leaned into his touch. I know. You're my boss. I know this could end badly. I don't care. Dominic's other hand came up to hold her face, and Luna's heartbeat skyrocketed. Tell me to stop. Tell me you don't feel this too, and I'll walk away. I'll be nothing but professional. But Luna. His dark eyes burned into hers. Tell me the truth. Luna's heart was in her throat. She should lie, should protect herself, should remember that men like Dominic Russo were dangerous, that his world could destroy her, that she had a family depending on her. But when she opened her mouth, the truth spilled out. I feel it too. Dominic's eyes got darker with something wild and possessive. His head lowered slowly, giving her every chance to pull away. Luna didn't move. When his lips touched hers, the world stopped. The kiss was gentle at first, testing, questioning. But when Luna's hands gripped his shoulders, something broke in both of them. Dominic pulled her against his chest, one hand tangling in her hair, the other at the small of her back, and kissed her like he was drowning and she was air. Luna had been kissed before, but never like this. Never with this strength, this hunger, this feeling of coming home. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dominic rested his forehead against hers. This makes everything complicated, he said quietly. I know. I can't promise you safe. I can't promise you easy. I'm not asking for easy, Luna said softly. I'm asking for real. Dominic pulled back enough to look at her, his thumb brushing her swollen lips. Then real is what you'll get. But Luna, you need to understand. My world isn't like yours. There are dangers, enemies, people who would hurt you to get to me. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to choose with your eyes open. His jaw got tight. Because I'm falling for you, and I need to know you can handle what that means. Luna's heart stopped. You're falling for me? From the moment you knelt beside that booth and whispered to my son like he mattered more than your fear of me, Dominic said roughly. You're brave, Luna. Braver than anyone I've ever met. You walked into my world without hesitation because a child was hurting. You're exactly the kind of woman who could destroy a man like me. I don't want to destroy you, Luna whispered. Then what do you want? Luna looked up into his dark eyes at this powerful, dangerous man who was also a sad widower and desperate father. I want Paolo to keep healing. I want you to smile more. I want. She swallowed hard. I want this, whatever this is. Dominic kissed her again, slower this time, deeper. When he pulled away, his voice was rough. Stay with me tonight. Not in Paolo's room. In mine. Luna's breath caught. Dominic. Just to sleep, he explained quickly. I just want to hold you. To not be alone for one night. His vulnerability broke her heart. Please. Luna knew she should say no. Knew this was crossing every professional line. But when she looked at him, she didn't see her boss or a dangerous man. She saw someone as lonely as she was. Okay, she whispered. Luna woke in Dominic's huge bed, wearing one of his t-shirts, sunlight coming through floor-to-ceiling windows. His arm was wrapped around her waist, his body warm against her back. And for a moment she just breathed. This was real. This was happening. You're awake, Dominic said quietly against her hair, his morning voice even deeper. So are you. I've been awake for an hour watching you sleep. Luna turned in his arms to face him. His hair was messy, stubble darker, eyes softer than she'd ever seen them. That's not creepy at all, she teased. A tiny smile touched his lips. With you here, I slept through the night for the first time in 18 months. I wasn't about to waste a second. Luna's heart squeezed. Dominic. A knock interrupted them. Papa. Paolo's voice called from the hallway. Where's Luna? They both froze. Under the bed, Dominic whispered. But Luna was already moving, diving under the bed just as the door opened. From her hiding spot, Luna watched Dominic's bare feet hit the floor as he opened the door. Paolo, what did we say about knocking? I did knock. Where's Luna? She's not in her room. Maybe she's in the kitchen. Rosa says she's not. Papa, where is she? Luna bit her lip to keep from laughing at the panic in Dominic's voice. I'll help you find her. Let's check the garden. As their voices faded down the hallway, Luna came out from under the bed, straightening Dominic's shirt. Her heart was racing, but she was smiling. This was dangerous, complicated, probably stupid. But for the first time in years, Luna felt fully alive. That afternoon, Dominic took them both to the park. Luna watched from a bench as Dominic pushed Paolo on the swings, the little boy's laughter ringing out pure and joyful. Other parents gave them space. Even in casual clothes, Dominic gave off danger. But Paolo was oblivious, shouting, "Higher, Papa! Higher!" You're staring, Rosa said, appearing beside Luna with 2 cups of coffee. I'm supervising, Luna corrected, accepting the cup with a smile. Rosa's knowing look made Luna blush. That man hasn't smiled like that since his wife died. And that boy hasn't laughed like that maybe ever. They're healing because of you. Rosa patted Luna's hand. Whatever's happening between you and Mr. Russo, and don't deny it, I've been cleaning his sheets for 20 years, I know when a bed's been shared, just know that you've brought life back to that house, that family. Luna's throat got tight. I care about them. Both of them. I know, sweetie. Just be careful. Mr. Russo's world, it's not always kind to the people he loves. A shadow crossed the sun, and Luna looked up to see a black SUV pulling up alongside the park. The windows were dark, but Luna felt eyes on them. Dominic, she called out, trying to keep the worry from her voice. He looked up, saw the vehicle, and his entire manner changed. In seconds, he had Paolo off the swing and behind him, his posture protective and dangerous. The SUV window rolled down halfway. A man's voice called out in Italian. Luna caught the words business and meeting. Dominic replied sharply, also in Italian, and the SUV drove away. But when he turned back to them, his jaw was tight with tension. Time to go home, he said quietly. In the car, Paolo chatted about the park, not noticing the tension coming from his father. But Luna saw Dominic's knuckles white on the steering wheel, saw the dangerous focus in his eyes. That night, after Paolo was asleep, Luna found Dominic in his office again, staring at his phone with an expression that scared her. What's wrong? She asked from the doorway. Dominic's eyes lifted to hers. Nothing you need to worry about. Dominic. Luna. He stood, crossing to her in 3 long steps. His hands held her face, and the desperation in his eyes terrified her. Whatever happens, I need you to know, you and Paolo are the most important things in my world now. I will protect you, both of you, no matter what it costs me. You're scaring me. Good, Dominic said roughly, because my world is dangerous, and I need you scared enough to be careful. He kissed her forehead, then her lips, gentle and desperate all at once. But not scared enough to leave. Please don't leave. I'm not going anywhere, Luna promised. But even as she said it, she wondered if that was a promise she could keep. Because the look in Dominic's eyes told her that danger wasn't just coming. It was already here. Paolo was spending the week at Rosa's sister's house in upstate New York, a planned trip that Dominic had arranged months ago. A chance for his son to spend time with extended family in a safe, peaceful place far from the city. I'll miss you so much, Luna had told Paolo as she hugged him goodbye that Monday morning. But you're going to have so much fun with Rosa's family. Will you be here when I come back? Paolo had asked, his small hands gripping her sweater. I promise, Luna had said, her heart full. She hadn't known then that keeping that promise would cost her everything. It was Wednesday evening when everything fell apart. Luna was in the kitchen preparing dinner when she heard shouting from Dominic's office. His voice, sharp and cold in rapid Italian, sent chills down her spine. She had learned to recognize that tone. It was the voice he used when dealing with the dangerous side of his business. The office door slammed open, and Dominic came out, his phone pressed to his ear, his expression darker than Luna had ever seen. Get everyone out, he said in English, clearly for her benefit. Now. What's happening? Luna asked, putting down the knife she had been using. Luna, listen to me very carefully. Dominic crossed to her, his hands gripping her shoulders. There are people coming here, bad people. People who want to hurt me by hurting what I care about. Luna's heart stopped. Paolo is safe. He's hours away with Rosa's family. They don't know about him. Dominic's jaw got tight. But they know about you. Fear flooded through Luna. How? Because I was careless. Because I let myself be happy and people noticed. His thumb brushed her cheek. I need you to go upstairs, pack a bag and leave with my men. They'll take you somewhere safe until this is over. What about you? I'm going to handle this. Dominic. Luna. His voice was like steel. I can't fight and protect you at the same time. Please trust me. Go. Footsteps pounded upstairs as Dominic's security team moved through the house. Luna heard Rosa's voice, sharp and worried as she was taken out the back entrance. I'm not leaving you, Luna said, her hands holding tight to Dominic's shirt. You are. Dominic pulled her hard against his chest, and she felt the rapid hammer of his heartbeat. Because if something happens to you, I won't survive it. Do you understand? Paolo needs you. I need you. So you're going to be smart and careful and let me do what I'm good at. Headlights cut through the front windows. They're here, someone shouted. Dominic kissed Luna hard and fast. Go now. Two of his men grabbed her arms, pulling her toward the back of the house, even as she struggled. Dominic. I'll find you, he called back. I promise. Then she was being rushed into a black SUV, the door slamming shut, and they were pulling away from the house just as 3 cars screeched to a stop out front. Luna twisted in her seat, watching through the rear window as armed men came out of the vehicles. She saw Dominic standing on his front steps, completely fearless, his posture giving off deadly danger. Then they turned a corner, and he disappeared from view. Where are we going? Luna demanded. Safe house in New Jersey, the driver said. Mr. Russo's orders. You'll stay there until he gives the all clear. How long will that take? The men exchanged glances but didn't answer. Luna's hands trembled as she pulled out her phone. No messages from Dominic. No calls. Just silence. Please be okay, she thought desperately. Please. 3 hours passed like 3 years. The safe house was a small apartment above a restaurant in Newark, clean but bare, with security cameras outside and 2 of Dominic's men at the door. Luna paced, her phone clutched in her hand, jumping every time it buzzed. Finally, at midnight, it rang. Dominic, are you hurt? Luna demanded the moment she answered. I'm fine. His voice was rough but alive, and Luna's knees went weak with relief. It's over. They're gone. What happened? I reminded them why it's a bad idea to threaten what's mine. The cold finality in his voice sent shivers down Luna's spine. Luna, I'm coming to get you. We need to talk. About what? The pause. About whether you can really handle my world. Dominic arrived an hour later, and the moment Luna saw him, she knew something had changed. He looked exhausted, his shirt wrinkled, a cut on his cheekbone, his knuckles bruised. But it was his eyes that terrified her. They were cold, distant, like he had locked away the warmth she had seen there. Dominic. Luna moved toward him, but he held up a hand. Don't. Let me say this first. He ran a hand through his hair. Tonight, 5 men came to my home to deliver a message. They wanted me to know they could get to me, to the people I care about. If my men hadn't been there, if you'd been alone. His jaw got tight. They showed me pictures, Luna, of you at the park with Paolo, of you leaving the restaurant. They've been watching you for weeks. Luna's blood ran cold. Dominic. I can't do this to you, Dominic said roughly. I can't make you a target. I thought I could protect you, keep you safe while still keeping you close. But tonight proved I was wrong. So what are you saying? I'm saying you should leave. Go back to Mexico. I'll give you enough money to support your family for years. You'll never have to worry about. Stop. Luna's voice was sharp. Just stop. Dominic looked at her, surprise flickering in his eyes. You think I'm some fragile thing that breaks at the first sign of danger? Luna stepped toward him, anger and love warring in her chest. You think I don't know what I signed up for? I've seen the way people look at you, Dominic. I've heard the whispered conversations. I'm not stupid. I never thought you were. But I also know who you really are. Luna's hands pressed against his chest, feeling his heartbeat hammer beneath her palms. You're a father who would die for his son. A man trying to leave his old life behind. A person capable of gentleness and protection and love. And yes, you're also dangerous. But so is life, Dominic. My father died when I was young. I crossed a border alone to give my family a better life. I survived things that should have broken me. I'm not afraid of your world. You should be. Maybe. Luna looked up into his dark eyes. But I'm more afraid of losing you. Of losing Paolo. Of losing the family I found here. Her voice broke. You can't make me leave to keep me safe. You have to let me choose. And what do you choose? Dominic asked roughly, his hands coming up to grip her waist like he was afraid she'd disappear. I choose you, Luna said simply. I choose Paolo. I choose this messy, complicated, dangerous life. Because I love you, Dominic Russo. And I love your son. And nothing, not your enemies, not your past, not your world, is going to change that. Dominic's eyes blazed. You love me. I love you. The kiss was desperate and claiming. Dominic lifted Luna off her feet, carrying her backward until her back hit the wall, his mouth never leaving hers. His hands tangled in her hair, his body pressed against hers like he was trying to merge them into one person. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dominic rested his forehead against hers. I love you too, he said roughly. So much it terrifies me. When I thought they might hurt you tonight, his voice broke. I would have burned this city to the ground. I know, Luna held his face, her thumbs brushing over his cheekbones. But you didn't have to. Because we're both here. We're both safe. And we're going to figure this out together. Dominic pulled back to look at her, his dark eyes searching her face. You're sure? Because once you're really in my world, there's no going back. I'm already in your world, Luna said softly. I've been in it since the moment I knelt beside a crying little boy and his desperate father. There's no going back for me, Dominic. There never was. Something broke in Dominic's expression, the last wall crumbling. Marry me. Luna's breath stopped. What? Marry me, Dominic repeated, his voice urgent and rough. Not someday. So I want you protected. I want Paolo to have a mother who loves him. I want to wake up every morning knowing you're mine and I'm yours. Marry me, Luna. That's the least romantic proposal ever, Luna said. But she was smiling, tears streaming down her face. Marry me anyway. Yes. Luna kissed him hard. Yes, yes, yes. Dominic kissed her back, lifting her again, carrying her toward the bedroom. We're going to do this right. I'm leaving that world behind. The business, the danger, all of it. I'm going legitimate. For Paolo. For our future. You don't have to. I want to, Dominic said fiercely. I'm done living in shadows. I want a life with you in the light. As he laid her on the bed, his hands gentle despite the intensity in his eyes, Luna knew this was the turning point. Everything was about to change. And she couldn't wait. 6 months later, Luna stood in the garden of the Russo house, watching Paolo chase butterflies with a joy that still took her breath away. So much had changed. Dominic had kept his promise. He had systematically taken apart his involvement in the family business, turning legal operations over to capable managers and cutting ties with anything illegal. It had been brutal, weeks of tense meetings, threats from former associates, late nights where Luna held him as he processed the weight of walking away from the only life he had known. But he had done it. For her. For Paolo. For the future they were building together. Luna. Paolo called, running toward her with a caterpillar cupped in his small hands. Look what I found. At 7 years old now, Paolo was almost unrecognizable from the terrified 4-year-old who had screamed in a restaurant booth. He was confident, happy, thriving. The nightmares still came occasionally, but now he would simply walk into Luna and Dominic's bedroom, and they would hold him until he felt safe again. "That's beautiful, sweetie," Luna said, examining the caterpillar. "Should we find him some leaves?" "Mama, you always say that," Paolo laughed. "Mama." The words still made Luna's heart squeeze every single time. "That's because I'm very wise," Luna teased, ruffling his dark hair. "Now go wash your hands. Papa will be home soon, and we're having your favorite for dinner." Paolo ran toward the house, and Luna followed more slowly, her hand resting on her still flat stomach. She hadn't told Dominic yet, had only taken the test that morning. But in 6 months, Paolo would have a little brother or sister. Their family was growing. "There's my wife." Dominic's deep voice came from behind her, and Luna turned to find him walking through the garden gate, his suit jacket slung over one shoulder, looking more relaxed than she had ever seen him. "You're home early," Luna said, walking into his arms. "Finished the meeting quickly. Wanted to come home to my family." Dominic kissed her thoroughly, his hand at the small of her back. "God, I love saying that. My family." "How did it go?" "Contract signed. The Brooklyn Restaurant Group is officially mine. Completely legal, completely clean." Pride colored his voice. "I'm a boring businessman now." "You could never be boring," Luna said quietly against his lips. "Papa." Paolo came running back out. "Can we play soccer before dinner?" "Absolutely." Dominic caught his son easily, tossing him in the air and catching him as Paolo shrieked with laughter. "But you're going down, buddy. I'm the champion." "No way." "Mama, tell him I'm the champion." "You're both champions to me," Luna said diplomatically. As she watched her husband and son play in the fading sunlight, Luna thought about the journey that had brought them here, the crying child in a restaurant, the dangerous man who had stolen her heart, the choice to stay despite every logical reason to run. It hadn't been easy. There were still whispers about Dominic's past. Still occasional threats from people who didn't understand that he had left that world behind. But they faced it together. "Luna," Dominic called, jogging over. "Come play with us." "I don't think." "Mama, please." Paolo grabbed her hand. Luna laughed, letting them pull her into their game. And as she ran through the garden with her family, she felt completely, perfectly happy. This was everything she had never dared to dream of. That night, after Paolo was tucked into bed with only one bedtime story instead of his usual 3, Luna found Dominic on their bedroom balcony, looking out over the city. "What are you thinking about?" she asked, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "How different my life looks from a year ago," Dominic said, turning to pull her against his chest. "How close I came to losing everything that matters. But you didn't. Because you stayed. Because you were brave enough to choose me." His hand held her face. "I don't deserve you, Luna." "You're right," Luna said with a small smile. "You deserve better. But you're stuck with me." Dominic laughed, the sound free and real. "Stuck with you forever." "Speaking of forever." Luna took a deep breath. "I have something to tell you." Something in her tone made Dominic still, his dark eyes sharpening. "What is it?" "I'm pregnant." For a heartbeat, Dominic didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then his face changed, pure joy breaking across his features like sunrise. We're having a baby?" "We're having a baby," Luna confirmed, laughing as tears streamed down her face. Dominic kissed her desperately, then dropped to his knees, his hands gentle on her stomach. "Hello in there," he whispered. "Your papa loves you already. So much." Luna's hands tangled in his hair, her heart so full she thought it might burst. "Are you happy?" Dominic looked up at her, and the love in his eyes was almost too much to bear. "Happy doesn't begin to cover it. You've given me everything, Luna. A second chance. A family. A reason to be better than I was." He stood, pulling her close again. "I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of you." "You already have," Luna whispered. They stood on the balcony as night fell over Brooklyn. Two people who had found each other in the most unlikely circumstances and built something beautiful from the ashes of grief and loneliness. Inside, Paolo slept peacefully, no nightmares haunting him. And in Luna's womb, new life was beginning. The Russo family was complete. For years later, Luna laughed as 3-year-old Isabella Russo, named after the mother she had never known but would grow up hearing stories about, smeared frosting across her chubby cheeks. "Bella, the cake is supposed to go in your mouth," Luna said, wiping her daughter's face with a damp cloth. "But Mama, it's so messy." Bella giggled, her dark curls bouncing. From the kitchen doorway, Dominic watched his wife and daughter with an expression of pure contentment. At 11 years old, Paolo stood beside his father, nearly up to his shoulder now, watching his baby sister with the protective instinct he had inherited from both his parents. "She's going to be trouble," Paolo said wisely. "Just like her mother," Dominic agreed, catching Luna's mock-offended look. "I heard that," Luna called. "You were meant to," Dominic said, crossing the kitchen to kiss her. Even after years of marriage, the touch of his lips still sent butterflies through her stomach. "Ew, they're kissing again," Bella announced. Paolo just rolled his eyes with the annoyance of an older brother who had seen this 1,000 times. The kitchen of their new home, a beautiful brownstone in a quieter neighborhood of Brooklyn, far from the house with its memories of danger, was warm and full of life. Photos covered the walls, Paolo's school plays, Bella's first steps, family vacations to Mexico where Luna's siblings had fallen in love with Dominic and his children. "Are we ready?" Dominic asked, checking his watch. "Ready for what?" Luna looked up from cleaning Bella's hands. "It's Sunday. You know what that means." Luna smiled. Every Sunday for the past 4 years, they had gone to Russo's restaurant, now under new management but still bearing Dominic's family name, for family dinner. It was their tradition, their way of honoring where they had begun. "Let me get changed," Luna said, standing on tiptoe to kiss him again. As she passed, Dominic caught her hand. "Have I told you today that I love you?" "Only twice." His dark eyes held hers, still intense after all these years. "That's not enough." "I love you, Luna Russo. You saved me. You saved my son. You gave me a daughter and a life I never thought I deserved." "We saved each other," Luna corrected softly. "And we built this life together." At the restaurant that evening, Luna sat in the same booth where she had first heard Paolo scream, where she had knelt beside a crying child and changed the course of 3 lives forever. But now Paolo sat beside her, tall and confident, helping Bella cut her pasta. Dominic sat across from them, his hand linked with Luna's on the table, his smile easy and real. "Mama," Bella said suddenly, "tell me the story again. About how you and Papa met." Luna exchanged a glance with Dominic, saw the warmth in his eyes. "Well," Luna began, "there was once a scared little boy in a restaurant, and a waitress who heard him crying." As she told the story, edited for Bella's young ears but true in all the ways that mattered, Luna looked at the family she had found in the most unlikely place. She thought of the terrified girl who had crossed a border with nothing but hope. The struggling waitress who had barely survived week to week. The woman who had been brave enough to kneel beside danger and offer comfort. That woman had been building toward this moment without knowing it. "And they lived happily ever after?" Bella asked, her eyes wide. "They lived happily ever after," Luna confirmed, squeezing Dominic's hand. "Because they chose love. Not perfectly. Not without challenges. But together. And that was more than enough."